If you think America's two-party system is dysfunctional, then you're in the right place. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Art. Every weekday morning I try to do a little video that I hope will cause people to think and hopefully will encourage discussion. I love a good discussion, and so that's what I'm hopefully implying here by having coffee with me. And I've heard a few people talk to me and they said they enjoy having coffee with me. Well, I enjoy everybody that checks it out. Thank you very much. Because I'm sick of the partisan arguing. I'm sick of the Democrat versus Republican. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's never just a discussion. It's always arguments and people get angry right away. And I'm sick of it. So let's get rid of it. And so the mental image that I have is the political parties. See, there was no provision for them in the Constitution intentionally. The colonists thought of political parties as being evil. And I believe they were right. George Washington, John Adams, both of our first two presidents warned sternly against their formation, and yet many of you believe and have been led to believe by those who support the two-party system that we've always had two parties. Well, it's a lie, or else why would presidents warn against their formation? And they're already in office. No, we haven't, and we don't need them. I'd like to get rid of both of them. My training in safety says when a hazard has been identified, and I really believe the two-party system is the greatest hazard to America's future because it's pulling us apart. We're supposed to be, as the Constitution says, it's supposed to be for greater unity, towards a more perfect union. And look what the parties have done to our unity. We got to get rid of them. So I view them as being like this weed that's growing in the cracks of a sidewalk, and it's become this huge tree. So I talk about taking down the two-party tree, but all I got is a hatchet. So I'm just going to take a whack at it every day. I hate the two-party system, but that doesn't mean I hate the people who have been involved in it. If you've been lied to all your life, what will you believe? And see, that's the whole point that I'm trying to get to is it's all in here. It's all in our heads. It's in our brains. I've been fascinated with the human brain for a way long time. And most people have not taken into account what we've learned about the human brain in the past 50 years, more than all of recorded history. What happens is people do not understand the brain because what goes on is basically invisible, and it was to medical science until the electron microscope. But what happens is there's roughly 100 billion brain cells. But here's the part that was amazing to me when I first started learning about it, because I thought of a cell as being a rectangular thing with a nucleus in the middle and genetic material in that nucleus and whatnot, because that's what I learned in high school biology class. And that was the basics for me. But what I found out is there's such a disparity. Neurons, brain cells, don't look anything like that. Here's a representation. It got cut off a little bit. Whoops. Here we go. A little bit better. All that is considered one brain cell. Yeah, a neuron. That's a representation of a neuron. Now we can't see them until you look through an electron microscope, and then this is an artist's rendering to try make it more understandable because it still looks like a mess. It's all tangled together. But here's the nucleus of the cell. And so over here on this part of the cell right here, they have these branches that go out in all directions. They're called dendrites. And those are like antennas, receivers. And then down here, this part, I think it makes more sense if you turn it this way, because one of the books I read, they called it resembles kind of a tree, where this part is the branches with the dendrite and the actual, this is actually the main part of the the cell then with the nucleus in it. And then this part going down is kind of like the trunk of a tree, and then almost like roots. But what this is this is the axon. So when the cell decides to fire, essentially, that impulse goes down the axon and out to the branches to connect to the dendrites of other cells. And so that's the basis of how the brain works, right there. And most people have never ever considered that. So up here you got the receivers, the dendrites, and that will cause this cell, under just the right conditions, to fire, and that impulse goes down here and out to the related cells. That's how your brain works. And I would guess that most of you that check this out have never had that explained to you before. Well, let's discuss the implications of that, because there's a lot of them. And that's where the power of political parties come from. It's in your head. See, each brain constructs its own view of reality. And we're going to be discussing that. And people don't take that into account. The brain is meant to interpret the information from the senses that is going to keep us alive. And so each brain senses what is important and incorporates that into the connected brain cells, which are called the neural network. So there's more to discuss, but you know what? I hope you got enough to talk about right there. Because if you've never really understood that a brain cell is by itself very complicated, then hopefully you learned that. And I'd love to have you research it on your own. Don't believe me. Look it up for yourself. That's what I'd like to encourage. And then discuss. So, every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present. So I hope you unwrap that present very carefully today, because there's good stuff in there for you. We just need to learn to appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you have a great discussion with somebody. And take a whack at that two-party tree. Have a great day.